All right, what's up, everyone? This is a non-sponsored, just normal person review of this Dreame. Is it Dreame or Dreamy? I don't even know how to say it. That mower, it's pretty good. Where I live, I've got some pretty steep inclines. I don't know if you can tell right here. This is a pretty bad hill. I've got tree coverage, so I didn't want an RTK-based system because I was worried that it would just lose the signal. I've been waiting for something with Lidar. That was also all-wheel drive. And this mower was the only one that I've seen so far that's come out. So I finally decided to pull the trigger on it. All right, folks, this is the yard that my mower has to cut. You can see there's lots of shade, lots of tree canopy. This is just the backyard. It goes way back there. It's about 3,000 square meters. So this is where I have the station set up in my garage. And you can see how much space I had to leave in front of it. If I didn't have it, I used to have some stuff sitting like in that shadow there. And when it comes out, it backs up and it does this whole little 360 turn. You do have to carve out a chunk of space, so you can see how much space you need here. It barely catches here on the inside of this lip. I also had it a little too close, so I had to bump it over to the left to do that. I mean, it tells you all this stuff. If you actually read the instructions when you install it, it tells you exactly, like, you can get out here with a ruler and measure it, but like who reads the instructions? Like, nobody does. So I just kind of eyeballed it, and now it's fine. You know, it took me trial and error twice, and now it works just fine. So putting in your garage to me makes a lot more sense because, well, for one, it's secure. Like, no one's gonna be stealing it. If I just have it sitting out here, you can just take it in the middle of the night. So I have it locked in here with the garage down. And it also, when it does its calibration thing, it's not doing that on my grass. So if every time it came out and spun around on my yard, it would like just tear it up. Of course, I mean, this is pretty terrible. We usually park a car here, if you're wondering why this looks so bad. So I moved it out of the way. That's a better spot. And then I have to have a little path in the software to connect from that to right there. This is my first zone. So I actually had to make that little path, and then that's all it needed. Once it knew the path, then it just comes out and follows its path to its yard. So easy enough, but I don't know why this isn't the default like suggestion, is to put it inside something, put it in a garage or something. Now, one other thing I'll say I did to get this thing to stay put is I just put duct tape on the bottom. Like, I just kind of fold it in half so it's like double-sided, and duct tape like a whole bunch of spots, because if you bump into this thing and move it a little bit, then it might not know where it is, and then it might like mess up your map. So when I had it put in place, I stuck it up against the wall and then just taped all around it. I also marked the edges so I know if I do bump it, I can tell that it's been bumped. So this is a section that has some pretty bad like terrain and lots of tree coverage. This is what I was worried about with like RTK systems and, you know, maybe cutting out. But there's a lot of roots and junk here. Slopes off pretty steep, and this thing's having no trouble navigating it. It's being fussy right on the edge here because this is exactly the edge I mapped out. Like that grass over there in the far frame, that's not my property. So he's right on the edge where I mapped it out. And he's gonna go back that way. But you can also see the striping here where he's going. And this is moving at the fastest speed, but he's already done most of that and just getting it done. Like, this is all you can really ask for. See, there's a pretty good stick right there. Here you go. This is a good moment. That's a not so easy thing to get over. And he just figured it out. Like, it propped up the wheel for a second. And this is some rutted out mess right here. Like, this is probably like as bad as you could expect for this guy. I think the Limo with the tracks would probably do even better, but he's handling it. Like, see, part of the trouble through here too is that I told it to mow in this direction in a line. And so when it hits this little patch of grass, it's trying to go bup, 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 bup. Like, this is like the Austin Powers kind of moment. So I feel like this is kind of worst case scenario. This is like bad programming on my end, telling it to to try to cut in this direction along these lines on a sloped patch of ground where it really would be easier that way. But still, I mean, even with that, this is not a great spot, and it's handling it. It figures it out. It just stopped actually a second ago because it couldn't figure out how to turn. And it cuts its blades off and it tries to move around, and then it turns the blades back on once it gets back online. So pretty good, you know, overall software, like navigating. See how it's making this turn again? This is totally unnecessary to like do this, but it's really trying as hard as it can to like stay on that exact line that it started on. See, there you go. You just heard it cut the blade off because it's done with that section. So this is another one of my no-go zones, this tree. And so he's finishing this zone, so he's coming up and you'll hear it beep. It'll stop and beep. And that means he's turning the blades on. See, he's getting right up on the edge. There's the beeps, and now the blades are on. So you can hear the blade. I don't know if you can hear him on this phone or not, but now he just does this little map, like around the no-go zone. So he stays pretty far off it though. I mean, to be honest, like I mapped it like with the wheel touching the stone, and he's off of it like, I don't know, 6 inches or something. So that's it. He's gonna finish that and then turn the blade off. You'll hear it shut off here when she gets back. See, blades off. So he just finished this zone on this side, and the next zone is over here, my front yard. And I had to drive him across here to here and make a little path for him to follow. So he's gonna go up to that path and make a turn. Yeah, there he goes. So now let's see if he figures out that my dog's in the way. My dog's just being kind of dumb. Get out of the way, dog. Okay, see, he figured it out. Like if he hadn't moved, it would have stopped, but okay, the animal's just as smart as the system. So I'm just gonna do a little note about my yard as I'm playing ball with my dog here. So like I have this pretty big slope that goes up. Hard to tell in this shot, but you know, there's probably 5 or 6 foot vertical gain from that part of my house down to the road. So this section I have into a zone where the zone kind of cuts right through the middle there. And that way my mower always goes in this direction, this vertical up the hill, because it's going to climb way better versus if I tell it to go horizontal, it's going to be fighting those omni wheels trying to go this way. So, you know, just be smart about how you set up your zones. But again, once you map it, it's much easier if you just map the entire yard first, right? Do the whole yard in one big map and then go into the app and kind of chop it into zones. It's pretty easy to do that. Same thing over here. This part here is this rut that's pretty bad, and then it climbs up and then it kind of flattens out over here. So again, I have a little chop off right about there. So this tiny little section around this tree is a little zone, so that I tell it always go in this direction, always go vertically up the hill. And because I have a zone here and a zone to my left, I can put a little path across this connecting 2 zones. Because you can only have one path for between 2 zones for some reason. Like you cannot have more than one path connecting 2 zones. So if you make a little zone here and a little zone here, I can have a path here. Then up there, that's a zone, and this is a zone, I can have a path there. So I just chop up my yard into zones and put paths between them so the mower can be a little more efficient. Otherwise, it has to go all the way around the driveway and then back around, or all the way around to my house to get to like that spot there. And that's really dumb. So I noticed it doing that because I hadn't chopped it into zones. And also I noticed it trying to do, you know, like horizontal direction here and kind of struggling on this really steep part right there. So once you've mapped your whole yard in one go, then chop it into zones and just sort of think through how you're planning that. So one thing that it does, which I think you can probably turn this off as a setting, but it always goes back and it does the perimeter. After it's done cutting a zone, it goes and like retrims the perimeter of that. And so since I put a no-go zone around this little pop-up, it goes back and it does a little circle around there, which is totally unnecessary. It's redundant. But then this is the other edge of my yard. So when I map this thing, this is actually my yard. It cuts straight diagonally through here. And so now he's doing this zone. So this whole little patch, which goes down my driveway up to the front, just this side yard, he's now trimming that side yard. So he does a cut that's like just slightly inset, and he does it on these lines. So you can see these vertical lines. But then he goes back at the very end of the zone and he does a trim of the whole zone. So that's nice on these edges because that's what you want, and then I don't have to trim it with a weed whacker. But then, unfortunately, through my yard, because I have an adjoining yard with my neighbor, he just cuts this diagonal line. So like this is always going to cut through here and look like that, which doesn't look really great. You know, certainly looks better to have this kind of big stripes. This is the guy who my neighbor pays for to mow. So I might try to turn this feature off, or at least on like a side yard like this, so it never does this. So here's a decent shot of cut quality. I think it's pretty fine. Like if I was cutting for the first time and it was super tall, this thing probably wouldn't handle it very well. But if you're just maintaining it and cutting it every few days, that looks pretty decent to me. Like I'm not seeing huge sections that were missed or uneven cuts, and even this is pretty sloped. It was able to handle it like just fine. So pretty happy with it. Like I'm actually pretty surprised. I was super skeptical that these little razor blades would ever do anything meaningful, but they do a pretty good job of regular maintenance. So I guess that's the understanding, is you just stick it out here every 3 days and it'll just look like this all year long. And if you let it go a week or so, well, then it's probably going to struggle a little bit. And but pretty happy with it. Also, just gonna kind of walk back here and show, like, this is probably some of the worst sections of grass because it's super shaded. So, like, I mean, under this kind of canopy, I was very worried that, you know, any RTK system was going to work. So I really wanted, you know, something like the Limo. Those blades just look amazing. But look at the slope, you know, we're having to climb. Like, I'm sure the Limo would do amazing on this. But would it know where it is if it gets blocked? I mean, I'm worried about that. So Lidar was awesome. It just cut all of this, no problem. Way out here in this field, this is also like now, I think 2 days after a cut. Looks fine to me. Like if it can do that and I don't have to cut all of this grass myself, that is good, man. Like I'm satisfied. This is what the bottom looks like after one full cut. This was 3,000 square meters of cutting. It was pretty dry when I was cutting, so you can see not a lot of stuff accumulated. There's only 3 blades. The MOVA one, I think, is basically the same machine, but has 6 blades, and it doesn't have a headlight on the front. So does fine with just 3 though, so that means fewer things that wear out, fewer things to change. You can see the blades do cut in one direction, so it's not the same. Like that's a different color than that. So after a while, if this gets kind of dull, I'll just flip each one around. Those are quick releases. I'm not going to demonstrate that because I'm not going to change them yet. They're pretty much okay. But thing is pretty strong. I mean, like this is just solid metal. Like there's some pretty serious parts in this thing, and it seems pretty robust, like pretty well built. It does say that it's AirTag compatible. Like supposedly you can put an AirTag on this thing, and I've just been looking around and I have no idea where that would go. I mean, I'm not seeing a dedicated AirTag slot. I've looked on their manual, I've looked online, I don't see it anywhere. I was thinking of like gluing one into here somewhere. There's a bunch of like plastic space there that this is just the battery, so there's probably nothing wrong with sticking it there. And this is the rear side, like the bumper is on the front, so I don't want to stick it on the bumper because that moves around. But I might just glue it in there and see where it goes. I mean, I'm not, again, worried about theft. Where I live and how I've got this thing set up, it yells at you if you pick it up. Like even just tilting it on its side like this to clean it off, it'll it'll send you a notification immediately on the app and say, the mower has been lifted. So I'm only mowing while I'm home. I keep it in the garage. I got my dog out here all the time. He always tells me when everyone pulls up to our driveway. So yeah, not worried about that. But I'm probably still gonna stick an air tag on it anyway. All right, on the top, this thing comes like this. It's got this little cap for the Lidar, which is pretty useful. Whenever I tilt it up, if I'm gonna clean it, I stick that guy back on because that little sensor is super expensive. Like, that's pretty much the main reason I think this thing costs so much. Don't wanna damage it. The controls here are pretty cool. Like, I never really use it. I guess you can, like, after you put in your PIN, you can go through the menu and tell it to go home. You can turn it off. You can tell it to return. You can also tell it to start cutting. I don't do it. I just do everything through the app. But it does have a PIN verification, which is nice. So I just tilted it. Once I put it back down, it's basically bricked. Like, you can't do anything until you put in your PIN. So if somebody does try to take the thing, it's not going to be very useful unless you like fully reset it. So I got to put in my PIN, and then I can push home, and it'll go to his home. So here's the other thing. I mean, you got to set your expectations. Like, I got my mower here, but I also have a push mower. Like, and this is a battery powered one that I got on Facebook Market for like a couple $100. Got a battery powered weed trimmer because I just don't like dealing with gas sitting around when I don't use as much. And like, I still haven't needed to use this. I definitely need to use this. I mean, I have to trim a little bit, but not a lot. I'm probably spending 20 minutes a week trimming some stuff that the robot mower didn't handle well. I mean, so don't throw this stuff away. Like, if you get that mower, man, hang on to your trimming equipment. You might need this to, do a quick patch that it misses one time or something. So hang on to some basic equipment, but battery powered trimmer is awesome. That's all you need to do some simple cleanup work that the mower doesn't handle. All right, so this is the app. I've just opened it up so you can see this is what it looks like on my phone. You can see that in my yard I've mapped it into a bunch of different zones, and I also have like a ton of different little things marked all over the place. So each one of the little red things with a zone around it, those are no-go zones. Most of these are trees, things like that I just don't want it to get too close to. And you'll see the little blue things. Those are obstacles that it's run into. Some of those I didn't actually map, like a bird feeder and stuff like that. You can also see these lines. Those lines are the direction that it's cutting. So you can see here it's like all vertical for this moment. But you can customize how you want each zone cut. Okay, so here's what the custom settings look like. You can have a general mode where it's basically the same thing for the whole yard, but I usually do it where I change the settings per zone. So if I choose a zone, you can see here, you can select the speed. So I have it on rush for most of the time because it works, but you choose a slower speed, it'll cut a little bit better. You can set the mowing height. You can also set the mowing direction. So you click on this and then you can see the lines. This is for zone 1, so you can see the green lines changing. So that's how you change the direction of mowing. In that zone, I always keep it moving in that direction because that's going uphill, and I want it to be always moving sort of uphill in that zone. You can have it change like regularly, like every other time it changes the direction, but for this one I leave it off. But some of my other zones I do that, so it's always changing direction depending on what it did last time. It also has like detailed settings on the edges. Like I usually turn my edge stuff off here, like obstacle avoidance and how close you want the edge to be. You can change all of that in those settings. And so I've learned over time that like you can actually get it really close to the edge if you tell it to. So, okay, once I've got my map set, one other cool thing is the 3D map. This just shows you what the Lidar is picking up. So it has to download for a second, but once it does, you can see it. It's pretty cool. Like, I don't know what else you do with this other than say this is cool. Like, it's not really informative, but it does show you the detail of just how much it picks up. Like, you can see our 2 cars there in our driveway. You can see all the trees around our yard. Each one of these little dots is like a data point. So this is how it knows where it is without needing some RTK signal or GPS signal. So it's able to always know where it is in space. You can also change the settings of how you want to mow, like to mow everything at once, or you can select specific zones, like just do zone 3 or something. And you can have it do the zones in a particular order. And so what I'll often do is like half my yard, I'll do like zone 1 and 2 on one day, and then the other zones on another day. And that way I do that every 3 days or so. In manual mode, like this is the way you direct it, is with this little joysticky thing. It's not like the best thing to work with, but it works and you have perfectly fine control. And also, like this is kind of cool where you can click the video and you can actually see what the mower sees while it's driving. So here it is. So I'm going to drive it out of my garage, and now it's basically like a little RC car, and I can move it forward with the joystick on the left side. So here, this is what it looks like. I mean, this is what the mower sees. I guess, again, I'm not sure really what to do with this. It's just kind of a cool feature. So what's my final verdict? Well, I think it's pretty good. Like, this thing works, and it does the job. I don't have to mow, and I'm pretty happy with it. It's probably overkill if you have a simpler yard, right? Like, if you've got clear sky, if your yard looks like this right here, and like there's no other trees and everything's clear, and you can get a good RTK pole up, like stick it on your chimney or on your roof or something, then just get any other mower that has an RTK system. But if you've got steep slopes like my front yard here, or you've got another steep slope somewhere else, then the all-wheel drive part is probably pretty important. Like, I don't think just the two-wheel rear-wheel drive mowers would handle, you know, this kind of a slope. I just don't think they're going to do it. And the all-wheel drive, as soon as it has to make a turn on that slope, it can handle it because those front wheels are powered. So I think that's pretty solid. Also, there's just a size factor here. Like I said, I've got a pretty big yard. I have 3,000 square meters. So I bought the 3500 model. You know, you could get the 5000 model, and you know, it would easily handle that. But I think it's just a matter of like the settings. Like the 3500 model with the rush setting can cover 5,000 square meters. But that's in one day. So like there's no way this thing is handling this whole yard in one battery charge. It has to do about 2 charge ups for it to handle, you know, this much space. And you get a sense of, you know, how much I'm handling here. I'm just a normal dude, man. I drive a minivan. I have a house that's got a bunch of grass that I gotta cut, and I don't want to do it myself. So I think the thing is pretty good and pretty well made. So if you're on the fence, but you know, you got a yard similar to mine, you got lots of trees, you don't think an RTK is gonna work, and you don't want to be out here every day, then just buy one, man.